Think gadget reviews, news, and all about it.
Lenovo Moto G4 Review 1. The Moto G4 seemed like a good place for Motorola to jump the shark. Motorola has been bought by Lenovo, the phone's way bigger and the design substantially altered. Don't wait for the drum roll, though, because the Moto G4 is still infuriatingly value-packed. It's a brilliant phone, and an easy pick for anyone looking to spend under £200. As long as you don't want a tiny mobile, anyway. 2. Supersize your meal deal? Spend an extra £60 and you can get a plus version of the G4 with a bunch of extras including a fingerprint scanner. It's a terrific value upgrade, but the scanner has all the grace of a diamante cufflink. The white version looks a bit better, but in person I prefer the clean and simple style of the normal Moto G4. How much storage you get is up to you. The £169 edition has 16 GB, which would do me just fine given there's also a microSD slot under the hood. Pay £30 extra and you can get the 32 GB version. Like every Moto G to date, there's no NFC and therefore Android Pay isn't supported. When it lets the phone duck down to £169, I'm not complaining. Aside from having much better color customization than any Moto G to date, this seems like a different design rather than one that's flat out better than the Moto Gs of old. It's more of a pocket and palm botherer, and its water resistance is worse. 3. Half-inch hero. The change that really matters with the Moto G4 is the screen. This is the first Moto G to break the 5-in barrier, using a giant 5.5-in screen. Motorola isn't the first company to make a big phone this cheap. Vodafone did it last year with the solid gold bargain Smart Ultra. However, the Moto G4's screen is miles better. Sorry, Vodafone. The important difference is color. There's no sense this is a cheapo budget display, with well-saturated but natural-looking colors leaving you missing out on very little compared to the displays of £500+ phones. It has a 1080p panel rather than a show-off QHD one like the Note 5 or LG G5, but this is still a dead sharp screen of 401p. It's the same spec as the iPhone 6's Plus, remember. 4. Attention, no peeing in the Android pool. The much-loved Moto approach to Android hasn't changed either. You get Android 6.0.1 in the purest form you'll find it outside of a Nexus phone. The look and feel haven't been fiddled with. It's a delight. Motorola has compressed its contributions down into a single app, called Moto. This lets you fiddle with the glance screen feature and choose which gestures to use. You can give the phone a quick Mr. Miyagi double karate chop to turn on the torch, for example. As with almost all Moto Gs to date, the G4's performance is slick and smooth. There was a brief dark period for Moto Gs where the 1GB models started performing like dogs thanks to Android 5.0 Lollipop, but we're back up to speed. 5. Speedy enough. The phone has a Snapdragon 617 CPU, a lower mid-range octa-core processor that's not too far off two of the Moto G 2015's Snapdragon 410 CPUs so taped together. It has the extra juice needed to make a 1080p work like a dream, but doesn't have the graphics grunt of some other mid-range chipsets. However, it does just fine. You can play Asphalt 8 with the graphics turned up, and while you can tell it's not exactly running at 60 FPS at certain points, it's never so slow that the fun is sapped out of it. If noticing this wasn't my job, I probably wouldn't. This is only when you head into the settings and manually crank up the visuals too. The hardware is faster in areas you might not expect to. Storage is several times faster than that of the 2015 Moto G, riding at 73.8 MB a second rather than under 20 MB per second, Moto G 2015. 6. App a load of that. What we get now is the style that works best. Keep it simple and put flash and HDR controls at your fingertips. Everything else is kept a bit further away. There's a little menu button at the top right, the one that looks like a video camera, that lets you access the manual mode, slow-mo video and the panorama mode. Like the previous Moto camera app versions, you can also change the exposure level right by the focus reticule. There's still some Moto DNA left. Most of the stuff I'm after is here too. There are just a few bits that are just okay with the Moto G4 camera. There's a tiny bit of shutter lag, HDR shots delay the camera slightly, the preview image often looks ropey, and low light performance is still miles off what you get in a great toys camera like the Samsung Galaxy S7s. The PUS is better in low light too. 7. Turbocharge that battery. The Moto G4 has a 3000 mAh battery, a good size for a phone of this size and resolution. You can trip the thing out and replace it, though. Like the last Moto G, it's locked in place in order to get the phone its water-resisting skills. Read the spec list and you could believe that only the Moto G4 Plus has fast charging, but this one does too. You just don't get the necessary charger. I used an LG one designed for the G5 and the thing juiced up in no time. Bonus. It'll last for 12 hours of movies when playing 720p MP4 files, which is a good 2.5 hours better than the last Moto G. It's not remotely close to what you'd get from the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, but means you'll get a solid day and bits use between charges. 8. Lenovo Moto G4 verdict. The Moto G4 is a huge redesign for the series that anyone with a tight phone budget should love. It's much bigger than any Moto G to date, making it much better for watching video and gaming. Everything we've loved about the G Crew to date is still here. The price, the performance and the sensible hardware are all spot on. We're even in two minds about whether you really need to upgrade to the Plus. The upgrade is definitely a bargain, but if you're not bothered about a finger scanner, the camera is already good enough to serve up top quality snaps. Either way, the Moto G4 is a phenomenally good phone that's going for a steal.